Stop everything. We are officially on high alert. Apple CEO Tim Cook just took to social media to tease a massive week starting Monday, March 2nd, 2026. The hashtag Apple launch is trending, and the rumors are reaching a fever pitch. All signs point to the arrival of the budget MacBook we've been hearing about for months, the long-rumored MacBook SE. This isn't just another refresh. It's a calculated strike at the Chromebook market and a potential game-changer for student tech. We aren't just guessing here. Media invites have already been sent out for special experiences in New York, London, and Shanghai on March 4th. Historically, when Apple does these multi-city hands-on events, it means a new hardware form factor is ready for prime time. This isn't just a spec bump, it's a strategic pivot. Today, we're breaking down the final design leaks, the controversial silicon choice, and the price point that might just break the internet this morning. Let's look at the hardware. We're likely seeing one of two paths based on supply chain movements. The first is a nostalgic but modernized return of the ultra-portable 12-inch design. Remember the 2015 MacBook? It was arguably ahead of its time but ultimately failed because the Intel chips of that era were thermal nightmares. Fast forward to 2026. With Apple Silicon's legendary efficiency, Apple no longer needs fans to keep a chassis that thin from melting down. In this 12-inch scenario, we're looking at a featherweight, fanless aluminum chassis. It would likely feature the modern Magic Keyboard, fixing the butterfly disaster of the past, and a sharp Retina display. The catch? To keep it dinky and affordable, Apple might limit connectivity to just a single USB-C port for both charging and data. It's the ultimate portability first machine, perfect for coffee shop writing or light browsing, but admittedly lean for power users. The second candidate is more familiar, the 13.3-inch wedge design. That made the M1 MacBook Air a legend. This is the shell that sold millions and solidified Apple Silicon's dominance. If Apple goes this route, you get a second USB-C port and a slightly larger screen real estate. It's a bit thicker than the 12-inch model, but it's a proven winner that fits existing accessories. Either way, Apple is recycling industrial designs to slash production costs and lower the barrier to entry. Now, here is where things get really interesting and controversial. Leaks suggest this machine won't have an M-series chip. Instead, Apple is reportedly dropping in the A18 Pro, the same monster silicon found in the iPhone 16 Pro. This marks a massive shift in Apple's branding. For the first time, a Mac will run on iPhone architecture. Before you panic about performance, you need to understand the numbers because this phone chip is actually a silent powerhouse. Look at the data. While the A18 Pro only has 6 CPU cores compared to the 10 cores in the new M4 or M5, its single-core speed is astronomical. In single-threaded tasks, it actually beats the M3 chip. For daily tasks like web browsing, scrolling through massive PDFs, or opening Safari tabs, this thing is going to feel incredibly snappy. In multi-core tests, it sits right next to the original M1. For a budget machine in 2026, that is more than enough horsepower for 90% of users. Because the A18 Pro was designed for a smartphone chassis, its thermal envelope is tiny. Putting it inside an aluminum laptop body is like putting a small engine in a big car. It's never going to break a sweat. This means zero fan noise, even under load, and battery life that could potentially push past the 20-hour mark. For students who spend all day in lecture halls without a charger, this level of efficiency is the killer feature that matters more than raw GPU cores. But there's a trade-off we have to discuss: the RAM ceiling. Because it uses the A18 Pro architecture, we're likely looking at a hard limit of 8 GB or 12 GB of unified memory. I know, in a world of M5 Pros with 32 GB base configurations, 8 GB sounds like a tough pill to swallow. However, look at the target audience. This machine isn't meant for 8K video editing or running heavy large language models locally. It's a Chromebook killer designed for the browser-based world we live in. To hit these new price points, Apple has to make cuts elsewhere. We expect storage to start at a modest 128 GB or 256 56 GB, likely using slightly slower NAND flash to save pennies. We're also hearing rumors of standard LCD panels rather than the high-end liquid retina or mini LED tech found in the Air and Pro lines. No true tone, lower peak brightness. These are the subtle sacrifices required to bring the Mac experience to a demographic that currently buys for $100 Windows laptops. Why is Apple doing this now? Because they are losing the classroom. Google's Chromebooks dominate schools because they are cheap and disposable. Apple wants those students in their ecosystem early. By offering a $500, $600 MacBook that runs full macOS, Apple creates a gateway drug. Once a student learns to use Pages, Keynote, and a cloud, they are significantly more likely to upgrade to an iPhone or a MacBook Pro later in life. It's a long-term play for brand loyalty. Interestingly, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman suggests this budget line will ditch the serious space black and silver for more playful colors. We're talking light yellow, green, and pink similar to the current iMac lineup. This leans into the fun and functional vibe of the Say brand. It separates the Pro Tools from the personal tools visually. If you see someone with a bright yellow MacBook in 2026, you'll immediately know it's the new Say. Let's talk ports. Aside from the single or dual USB-C ports, don't expect Thunderbolt 5 support here. The A18 Pro controller likely limits us to standard USB-C speeds. You also probably won't see MagSafe. Apple might stick to USB-C charging only to simplify the internal logic board. Again, for a student or a casual home user, losing MagSafe is a small price to pay for a massive reduction in the actual sticker price of the machine. The most explosive part of this leak is the pricing. We are hearing a launch range between $599 and $799. At $599, Apple completely disrupts the market. But think about the holiday cycle. If this launches at $600 now, we could see third-party retailers like Amazon or Walmart slashing it to $450 by Christmas. A brand new, modern MacBook for under $500? That is the nightmare scenario for Dell, HP, and Google. It's an aggressive, gloves-off move. Apple is playing a different game this week. They aren't trying to outspec the MacBook Pro, they're trying to own the living room. It's simple, it's colorful, and it's coming faster than we expected. I'll be getting my hands on one the second it drops on Wednesday to see if that A18 Pro can truly hold its own in a laptop form factor. Stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and let me know in the comments, would you buy a $500 MacBook Say? This week is going to be wild.